Enough. Okay, before we get started, I have heard the complaints that I have been a little hard to hear, so I did something very nice. I actually moved my microphone mount a little bit forward. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Oh, man. What a day. What a day, what a day, what a day. I am already ready for bed. I've been up since 6 in the morning. I want to go to sleep. God. Okay, so, we are here to talk about GQuuuuuux. The quack. The quack is back. And yeah. So, this is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting episode we had today, huh? As if the title of this stream wasn't a dead fucking giveaway. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about it. Obviously, we've been doing that every week since the show started. We're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about exactly what went on and kind of like try to, we'll theory craft together as a community. Let's see how the chat's doing. A lot of people saying hello, so hello to you guys too. Am I doing better than last week? Yeah. To say the least. Still working on some shit, like, up here, mentally, but overall, I'm doing pretty good. In fact, I'm gonna sit back, relax a little, you know, but, doing pretty good. Yeah, I had a meal that I really like to make today, so that really brought up my mood, but yeah, new episode of Gundam GQuuuuuux. I saw a thing on Twitter that's not really relevant to... It is and is not relevant to this, because I do have some criticisms of this episode that I'm going to levy. But I saw something really weird. It was an article on... where was it? It was from comicbook.com. It said, the decade's best Gundam will return with a spin-off in 2 weeks. And I don't tweet that often, but I had to say this. Like, we're 5 years into the decade, and both GQuuuuuux and Hathaway are leaps and bounds better than GWitch. I feel like that is gonna need stating, because I'm gonna be honest, we're only 6 episodes in. I have my complaints so far. This show is so much better than GWitch, dude. Week to week, it is just so much better. So yeah. Excellent video about the Kier situation. I tried my best. I actually kind of debated on doing that one, but I'll give more context after we talk Gundam stuff. Just put a pin in it, remind me later, and we'll come back to that. Because I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk a little bit about perspective on some other things when we kind of get to the just kind of Zatsu session at the end of these. So, let's talk about what exactly happened in the episode. I'm assuming everyone in the chat has watched it. If you have not watched it, feel free to, go watch it and then come back later or something like that if you need to. UC domination can never not be overcome, even if it's an alternate UC, which is fucking wild, right? But yeah. So yeah. Which will come out first, GTA 6 or Hathaway's Flash Part 2? Probably GTA 6, because I think they're supposed to come out the same year. I'm just kind of a little upset that it's taken them this long. Because they said, I think, last year that Hathaway would probably come out in 2026. So. Which, my whole thing is like, dude, we need to get this going. Because the next thing they're going to look at animating when it comes to, like, after Hathaway is done, the next thing they're going to be looking at animating is either they're going to do a remake of F91, they're going to do F90, or they're going to do Crossbone. I really want them to do Crossbone, and they need to give it 50 episodes, because, God, Crossbone is fucking great. So, anyway, let's go ahead and go through my notes here. So, one thing worth noting. This wasn't a bad episode. I'm still a little disappointed in it. But, we'll go into that. Want to see F91 getting a proper series? You and me both, Phantom. You and me both. Anyway, so here's what I had on my notes. Despite the title, there was little to no action in this episode. It was a setup for something bigger, but we do get more universe info plus character development. Now, here's the thing. Some of my gripes about this episode might mean absolutely nothing when the next episode rolls around. So, all the manga of Crossbone? Oh, yeah. Anyway, so that was the first note that I had, was a Gundam Sentinel movie. I'd be down for that too. But yeah, there's very little actual action in this. Everything is a setup for something bigger. But we get more universe info, we get more character development. Some of it was pretty good. All the Xeon stuff in this episode was great. And all the like political stuff, I guess you could say. The political machinations, that all was really interesting. You know? So, guess the Anki Matilda theory was debunked. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But anyway, part of the interpersonal drama is that the show pretty much confirms at this point that Machu not only has the hots for Shuji, but she's also the jealous type. Because she freaked the fuck out when her friend was inside the Gundam. To the point where she made her give her the pilot suit to pretend that she was in the GQuuuuuux the whole time. And she's basically like, the Kira, you know, the new typing that they do was just for me and Shuji. I'm like, oh fuck me, dude, this is gonna get bad. So I'm already sensing that at some point this is gonna end in tragedy. You know, at least that's the impression that I have now. But then again, this is something worth saying. My predictions of this show thus far have been fucking terrible. They just have been. I've gotten everything wrong, which is okay. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I've gotten everything wrong so far. But anyway, so that was interesting to see. It helps with the interpersonal dynamics. Machu's kind of cute when she's jealous. I'm not gonna lie. She's an adorable kid. She just is. But we also get the sense with a lot of the character stuff that they did is that her disassociation that she suffers from gets worse when she's not inside the Gundam or around it or hasn't piloted it for a while. Which, again, makes me think that more so than anything that it is a combination of new type connections plus the psycho frame, which I'm still under the assumption that these Psychomus are just flat out psycho frame. And we'll talk about that in a second. Because it leads into something else. But yeah. We also get confirmation of one point of Anki's past. She is a former Xeon citizen. So that's really interesting. Because there is a conversation between her and Shalia Bull, where he is very informed on who she is. So that was really interesting. But the basic idea, there's a couple of major points that get talked about during the course of the episode that are going to affect the next episode. At this point, the Pomeranians are the number 2 team in regards to clan battle. There is only one team better than them. They are, and I'll answer questions once we get done talking about what happened in the episode. unless it's related to the episode. I don't want to talk about model kits until we're there. The Pomeranians have one more fight to get to the top of the clan battle, but they're facing a team from a company that supposedly rivals Zeonic and Anaheim, which was really interesting because at first when I heard that, I'm like, well, SNRI wouldn't exist yet, so it's not them. But what it did basically confirm, though, is that Anaheim is still around and they're still kicking, but they don't have the resources that they would in the Universal Century, because the Zeonic and those other companies didn't suffer the losses that they did because Zeon performed so much better in the 1 Year War than they did in the original timeline. So that was kind of interesting. But when they said it was an Earthbound company, I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm like, well, this is new. Okay, I mean, it's a new timeline, so whatever. But what it did tell us was that Anaheim is a thing in this universe. Zeonic is still around, which of course makes sense. So now here's the thing. The episode is called "The Plot to Assassinate Kycilia," right? It's barely talked about, honestly, in the whole episode, and that was a little disappointing. Basically what happens is that the plot has been discovered. Xavier, who, is the lieutenant that works under Shalia Bull, we found out an episode ago that he actually works for Kycilia, secretly. Shalia Bull's not aware of it. At least not that we know. And as of, I know that. I didn't say the opposite. Going to throw something at you for distracting me with that. What the fuck? I didn't say it. Wait. You might as well have chatted like at BigMicahC, A comes after B, or B comes after A. I know. You said they shouldn't exist? No, that's not what I said. Wasn't what I said at all. I said they don't exist the same way that they do in the original timeline because of the way that Zeon performed in the 1 Year War. Anyway. Yeah, I referred to the other company. Thank you. So, which I should have written down their name, but that's my bad. But we'll find out what they're a front for here in a second. I'll mention that. But anyway, one thing that the spy that Kycilia has there communicating with the lieutenant lets him know that Shalia Bull had his mobile armor sent to Side 6. So yeah. It is, it's looking like he's involved in whatever's going to happen to her. At this point, Shalia has made a deal with Anki that once they win the clan battle, they're going to give the Gundams back to Zeon because they're just going to take the war and, or they're going to take the W and go. They're going to take the money. They don't really need the Gundams at that point. So I was like, all right, fine, have them back. Who the fuck cares at that point? Because they got what they wanted out of it, right? So, so that's the plan. And basically, Machu overhears this, gets distraught by it because she's obviously attached to the Gundam. Though, not really attached in the sense of like how a normal pilot is attached to their machine. More, again, somebody mentioned it in chat earlier, but it's more like a drug addiction with her. Which is also what makes me think it's Psycho Frame, because it's fucking with her head. That or she's a cyber new type. That's the other theory. Because there are cyber new types in this. they're pretty much confirmed. Because the company that they mentioned was based out of Asia. And the map they showed was around Hong Kong. And then the next thing we see is Basque fucking Ohm. The Titans exist in this timeline. And not only that, for this clan battle, they brought the Psycho Gundam. And it is just as big as it was in the original series. Yeah. And it was in Titans colors. I saw that and I'm like, oh, fuck me, dude. And that pretty much did confirm one theory that I had about this show. It kind of is an alternate universe Zeta Gundam. Just instead of at side 6, it's at side 7, it's side 6. So yeah, it's not the Mark II, it's the Psycho Gundam. They call it the Psycho Gundam. Where's Jared? He wouldn't have joined the Titans by this point. But yeah, it's the Psycho Gundam that they brought. We see the pilot of this Gundam. She wears a mask. She's clearly a cyber new type. She's clearly a child. And we didn't need to see her naked. I don't know why the show did that. Again, it's one of those things about Japanese media. I do not understand why they do that. Tomino did it too with Puru 2. And it's like, that was pointless. We didn't need that. So, regardless, the simple fact is that they're using child soldiers. And, which shouldn't be surprising, both sides in these wars have used child soldiers. So this isn't new. Like, I remember somebody got on me when I did the review of fucking, Requiem for Vengeance. And like, how could you think positive things about the Federation when they use child soldiers? Like, both sides use them. Neither of them are good. There is no good side in the 1 Year War. There's bad and margin and considerably worse. You know? So yeah, it's wild. And then, but the one thing that they also note about it is that the pilot is getting into what's called a psycho suit. And on top of that, we saw Machu's eyes changing color while she was in it. And the weird thing about this is that this really has like Unicorn Phoenix vibes to me. Like the NTD, you know? So I'm like, what the actual fuck? Federation's planning to assault Side 6 or 3 using the Psycho Gundam, so would that mean that they've got Quells, Hyzax, and maybe a Mark II? I would say yes to the Quells or the Mark II, possibly. But keep in mind, in this universe, the Jim is the Gelgoog. The Jim was never developed by the Federation. It was developed by it was developed by Zeon in this timeline. That's what the Gelgoog ended up being instead of what it is in the normals one. Is it the Hades system? No, Hades system works differently. Though it could have similar effects. We'll have to see. But imagine a Hazel. That would be more along the lines of what I would think is taking the base Gundam design and sort of going the Hazel route with it, rather than anything else. Because the gimmick with this is that both sides have the potential for having Gundams. I mentioned this ages ago. Like, with this, is that, you know, obviously now Zeon has the Gundam, but all the documentation for Gundams, like Gundam development, the Federation already had it. It's just now Zeon has it too, and that's what changes the war. because technologically speaking, in the 1 Year War, Zeon is always playing catch up to what the Federation is doing, always. And even then, they couldn't match Amuro and his skill. You know, if anything, one thing that this timeline basically says is that if Amuro is not in the room, Char is the man. And he's hard to stop. Which is kind of crazy. Yeah, nobody from Zeonic were out of the job, so no reason for the Hyzak. Yeah, so all the Titans mobile suits that look like Zeon suits probably aren't. I wouldn't imagine they're going to happen. I imagine they're going to just go straight for Gundams. So regardless, the term psycho suit we've seen before in Gundam narrative. So it makes me honestly think that there's some psycho frame fuckery going on here. That's my theory. But again, my theories have been wrong this whole time. Holy shit, we have 79 people watching. I'm going to be really lame and do the YouTube thing and say if you're enjoying the stream, click the like button real quick. Because we're at like 14 likes with that many people. Holy shit, dudes. If these live streams of mine start getting to like 100 people, my head might explode. So yeah, now I have some notes, some feelings about this particular episode. But then again, let me say this. My gripes are, despite being a whole sentence long, they're kind of minor compared to what I think is coming next. But, this was kind of another episode with a lot of fluff in it. But it was a setup. Everything was being set up for a big moment that's supposed to come next. And I think that the setup will probably pay off. The thing is that if it doesn't pay off, people are going to be pissed, and for good reason. Do you think that the GQuuuuuux is the Qubelay? That's my theory. Or it's meant to be the Qubelay. Or something like that. Because the Elmeth would have never been designed. Because there's no Lala. At least, not that we know of. My theory is that Lala was the Moonchild. And that she took Char beyond the time. And that's why when we started hearing from the Psycho Frame during that one battle, we started hearing Lala's, like, the chanting of the Elmeth, which, again, doesn't exist in this universe. It was never created. The bit technology that was created for the Elmeth was instead put on the Red Gundam. But anyway, the thing about this is that if the payoff is not good, this is going to end up making the same mistakes that GWitch did. Because GWitch has this thing where the first 4 episodes are all good. Because if I remember right, the 4th episode is like the happy birthday episode, right? Where the one dude's clone gets like deep fried at the end of it. And then from that episode until like episode 11, it's like a whole bunch of fucking nothing. And I really don't want to see GQuuuuuux have that same problem. But the last couple episodes have kind of been fluff. You know? So I don't want to see that happen. Because as of right now, this show is way better than GWitch was. Way better. And I don't want to see that happen again. So that's one thing. Second thing, for an episode called The Plot to Assassinate Caecilia, it's barely touched on. It gets like 5 minutes. Most of the episode focuses on Machu drama, which a lot of it we already knew. And then it didn't really advance the story in any meaningful way, at least in the context of its own episode. Now, in the greater context of the series, this might change. So, yeah, the pot is ready to blow. Like, things are boiling up. And that's the one thing that's notable about this. Because the dopest part about this was confirmation that the Titans exist and confirmations of cyber new types. And hopefully this is going to be a big factor going forward. I'm hoping to God that we get a 3-way war kicked off. That would be fucking awesome. I want the revelation at the end of this to be that Amuro Ray gets in a Gundam. Either I want to see Amuro, Camille, or Judo. Amuro and Judo especially. Because anime Janai, baby. But anyway, like the one thing that I felt was kind of like a pointless moment. The other chick with the black hair, I forget her name. All the stuff with her, like talking to the dude and all that, felt pointless. Like I didn't feel like we needed it. I would have rather had more time with like some of the Zeonic characters to get to know them better. So yeah. Amuro is likely the main engineer for the new company. That would be wild if Amuro Ray was developing for the Titans. That would be Nyan, yeah. Like I'm gonna be blunt about something. I don't care about Nyan. I really don't give a shit about her so far. Like she just kind of feels like she's there to be a romantic foil for Machu. More so than anything. And I just don't care about her. If she died in the next episode, I wouldn't cry about it. Honestly. But that's just me. Like it's just she, of all the characters, she has not grabbed me. I'm more interested in everybody else, honestly. Considerably more than her. I think it's going to be Salem Mass. It's going to be main antagonist / player. I thought she went beyond the time, too. I could have swore that's what happened in the movie, is she went beyond the time. Both her and Char. But yeah, that would be wild to me, though, if Amuro is the guy who's behind the development of Titan's mobile suits. Like, that would be fucking crazy. So... she escaped? Was that confirmed in the movie? I disagree. I think Yam's going to play a bigger part. Remember, Shinji keeps saying the Red Gundam really likes her. We'll see what happens. She escaped before being shot down. Interesting. What if MASH comes back in the next episode? I don't think they're going to do anything more with the Black Tri-Stars, honestly. I really don't see it happening. So. What was that message retracted? Oh, he said saw this on Reddit. Yeah, you can't post links in my chat, so... I don't allow that. No, nothing against anybody. It's just there was a point here on YouTube where they were like porn bots constantly, and I just disabled links. So, not to mention, admittedly, I don't want to see anything from Reddit anyway. Reddit is cancer. Oh gosh. But yeah, as it stands, we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what happens. I'm hoping that it's, if nothing else, it's fun. You know? Amuro and Shirako team up? That would be weird. An evil Amuro? That would be wild. Now, here's my thing. I don't think we're going to see Amuro. Like, there's that part of me that doesn't think that just because of what happened with the voice actor. But then again, his lines might have been recorded before everything went down. You know, it's hard telling. I saw this on Reddit. The movable frame tech was never invented in this timeline. Well, at least not yet. Movable frame tech wouldn't be invented unless... Well, It all depends on Franklin B. Don, honestly. Because here's the thing, Franklin B. Don is the guy who did it. Camille's dad is the guy who invented it. So, more than likely, it just hasn't been made yet. So, probably not. Maybe a cameo, but not a big role. Yeah, that or just recasted. We'll have to see. I'm curious. But, could have just used a different VA for Amuro to begin with, as they did with Char. That is true. The guy who normally voices Char did not voice him in that one G Divers, whatever the fuck, for the fucking Gunpla show. We're just getting magnetic coating in this timeline. Oh, that actually reminds me of that. So here's the thing. The movable frame technology does not get created until, I want to say, the year before Zeta happens, and this is 2 years before. So that would be why. But then again, the Psycho Gundam has already been made. So technology in this universe is kind of weird, because a lot of the things that have that would happen, there's some things that are happening earlier, and there's some things that aren't happening at all. Delicious. Hydration. But yeah, we'll see what happens, though. Maybe Amuro's on Earth with Frau? Just like getting laid all the time? That'd be interesting. He gets her instead of Hayato. Wonder if Jamitov will get some spotlight, as GQuuuuuux likes to use characters that weren't used that much in OGUC. More Jamitov would be interesting, assuming he survived the 1-year war. The Titans feel a little different now. They feel more like a Black Ops unit than they do an overt special forces. You know, like they're a lot more secretive in this than they were beforehand. Because the thing with the Titans originally is their whole thing was they were overt. And this, not so much. Everything new type related would have gotten rushed for sure. Yeah, that seems to be the big thing. Because effectively, like, a new type Earth company could be Titan Industries or a front. So in the episode Xavier, they actually name what the shell company is. I just didn't write down what the name is, but it's the Titans. Yeah, Zeta's in 87, we're in 85, so we're a little bit ahead of things. In normal UC timeline, the Titans are created in 0083 as a response to Operation Stardust. So I'm assuming in this, they might have been created 2 years beforehand, or something like that. They say the Titans guy is a special commando. Yeah, it's more of a Black Ops thing. Yeah, Kamala Amala is what they call it. So, Titans probably specialize in Titan. Well, yeah, they flat out said they're using the Psycho Gundam in the next episode. I'm guessing Xavier wasn't listening to that part. One thing you guys will realize about Xavier, he never listens to me. It's just a common thing with him. There will be points where we're chatting about things, and he's talking to me like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this thing. Well, I've done that thing before, and you don't want to do it that way, because it just doesn't work. And then he goes, I'm going to do it the way that you just told me doesn't work. Like I'm lying to him. Like, he does that all the time. I don't know why. Xavier's weird like that. I look forward to the day that Xavier trusts me. That'll be fun. Would the Delta Gundam still exist? I don't think that they're going to be going down that line in regards to technology, to be honest with you. Like, everything seems more focused around new type shit. But then again, the only mobile suits we've seen that aren't 1 year war machines are, I'm assuming they said that the Gelgoogs were in the 1 year war. So the only machine that we've had that was developed after the 1 year war that we've seen is the GQuuuuuux itself. We haven't seen any other mobile suits that were developed after it. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm curious about it. What is the best Universal Century model kit? Oh, God. Of the ones I have built... Okay, so I cannot speak about high grades or perfect grades or real grades. I can only speak to master grades. The best ones that I have built are the Sinanju Stein, which is right behind me. See where my thumb's pointing. That one, the Zeta, and the double Zeta Verkaz. Those are the three best, in my opinion. Like, they have the best gimmicks. They're the most stable of all the Universal Century mobile suits that I've ever built. They look phenomenal. In regards to the Zeta and the double Zeta, their transformation gimmicks are flawless. Like, it's insane how good of kits those are. Like, they're really, really, really good. So yeah, like, if you're looking for like master grades, that would be my recommendation. The one thing I would say though is, especially if you're doing Verkaz have a lot of parts. A lot. But they're also super detailed. So if you're perfectly fine with having a lot of parts, like, because that's always the trade-off, is usually more parts is more detail and more, so on and so forth. Like, if you're fine with that, those would be what I would recommend. I'm just big on the Verka line in general, though. I've enjoyed almost every Verka I've ever built. You think GQuuuuuux is popular enough for them to do a Zeta, double Zeta, even a Victory sequel? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. I have not heard a whole lot about its popularity at all, to be honest with you. It's kind of gone under the radar in a weird way. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there was a lot of conversation around GWitch because GWitch had a political element that was injected into it by the media, and thus it created a lot of discourse online. This one we have not seen the same thing. Nobody is complaining about this show at all, nor should they, mind you. But like, nobody is complaining about it, and I haven't heard anybody say a negative word about it. Nobody complained about the lead character being a girl, like stuff like that. Like there's none of that, none of the zeitgeist shit. So there's not really as much talk about it as there was with GWitch. On the flip side, I'm of the opinion that like this one, at least from what I have seen, is a lot more consistently liked by people. A lot of people, like, if you ask them about their opinions of GWitch, like, it's mid. So, you're talking about high grade? I'm going to tell you right now, Chief, I don't know dick about high grades. My mitts are too big to build them. For example, here is your average can of, canned air, right? Where did over half of it go? One 1/44 scales don't work with mitts like these. It just doesn't happen. So yeah, I build exclusively 1/100 scale stuff. Speaking of which, I need to finish this guy. Maybe I should do that this weekend. Let's finish this dude. What is it? My camera does not want to focus. By no means my favorite master grade, but it does look good if nothing else. It felt forced in GWitch, the way the characters in GQuuuuuux feel more natural, even if Neon feels like an accessory. Yeah, that's the big thing about it. Like, I connect a lot more with the characters in this show than I do in GWitch. I think a lot of them are much more interesting. Mostly because they're doing a really good job of, like, having a good amount of mystery behind each character, you know, to drive intrigue. So... I didn't finish it yet. Nah, I haven't really been in the mood to paint. Like I mentioned, I've been having some like mental issues lately. So, I have just not had the mental energy to sit down and paint something. I think a lot of it, I think I need to just get this novella done. Like, honestly, I just need to get it done. Because the one downside to writing horror is admittedly it does put me in kind of a funky mental state. And, have I watched Andor? No, I don't watch modern Star Wars. I don't enjoy it. I've heard good things about Andor. I just don't really particularly care. Not to mention, I just don't want to pay for Disney Plus. So, love the Gundam playing videos. Second rewatch, I built an MG Rickdom. Nice. I have one of those too. They are they're a pretty good kit, honestly. The Rickdom 1.5. So, yeah. Oh, goodness. Alright. So, we're at that point. I kind of feel like we're pretty much done with discussing the ins and outs of crazy all the misogynists aren't going after GQuuuuuux. I wonder why. I know, right? It's almost like they didn't, like a lot of people didn't really care about female protagonists in a television show. You know? So weird. So weird that happens. Right? So. You bought the MG Heavy Arms with the Eagle unit? Nice. I might build one of those at some point. But I might repaint it to be like a scope dog instead. Because the one thing I love about the Eagle unit is that so that it keeps its speed and mobility, it uses the sort of like foot accelerators that a scope dog would use to move. I always thought that was really cool. Do you think Machu will kill her mom like Camille? Camille didn't kill her mom. Camille didn't kill his mom. That was Jared, dude. Jared killed Camille's mom. Killed her in cold blood. Like if you go through, if you haven't watched my my Grips War Part 2 video, I break down what happens. Like this is how stupid Jared is. Jared, I shit you not, he not only does he fire on the capsule that Camille's mom is, for some reason he thinks it's a bomb, but nobody told him it was a fucking bomb. He just assumed it was. And so he's like, I'm gonna just fire on this capsule that may or may not be a bomb, even though I was never ordered to do that. I'm going to fire on the mobile suit that we've been sent to retrieve and not blow up. Like, what? Jared is so fucking stupid. He's so fucking stupid. It's wild. Like, holy crap, dude. Like, he's so dumb. Oh, man. It's wild. It's actually wild how dumb Jared is. Like, seriously. Confuse him with his father. Yeah, exactly. Like he does kill his dad. Actually, wait a minute. No, I don't think it was actually Camille that fired the shot that killed his father. That might have been from a different suit. I could be wrong on that. I might be remembering wrong. Do I think Machi's mom is gonna die? Maybe. Let's see what happens. I'm kind of hoping for a catastrophe to kind of spice things up a little bit. Just sounds so fucking weird. That is not a phrase I thought I would say, like, unironically. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, man. Char did it? Was it Char who shot him? I'd have to go back and watch it. But anyway, what video games do I play? A lot of stuff. Lately I've been just playing through Power Wash Simulator while I'm just kind of thinking about stuff. But to kind of give you an idea of the sort of stuff that I use, I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. Probably my favorite video game franchise ever. I'm a big RPG guy. Both Japanese and Western. I really enjoy. I'm thinking that what I think what I'm gonna reward myself with when I finish this novella. I think I'm gonna when I'm finished, I'm going to reward myself with playing all the way through Clair Obscur. The Oblivion remaster. I played it. It's an Oblivion remaster. There wasn't really a whole lot to say about it. Funnily enough, it put me in the mood to play Skyrim, so I did. And then Skyrim runs like shit, so these days, so I'm like, fucking whatever. The one Gundam pilot sure killed his mother, Setsuna. Yeah, he did. It's when he realized that being a jihadist is bad. Don't show Hamas Bin Laden, Diddy, Adolf Piker, that show. Oh goodness. Yeah, somebody thanked me for doing the Kirsch video earlier. Can I explain how Andor 8 and 9 play out? Let me potentially watch at some point in the future. I'll go over it at some point. Maybe. We'll see what happens. I'm not super interested in it right now, but maybe some other time. But yeah, somebody asked me or had thanked me for doing the Kirsch thing, and they found anime on Bin Laden's hard drive. Really? That's funny. Maybe he was a One Piece fan too. That's funny. But anyway, the Kirsch video. What was I gonna say about it? Oh, yeah, that was kind of an interesting thing. Like, the Vice hit piece didn't surprise me. Because the thing that I had a feeling was, I saw Kirsch respond to the Wheeler article that Vice writer did, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna, like, the next thing that's gonna happen is Anna Valens is gonna go after Kirsch. That's gonna be the next thing, and lo and behold, that happened. I'm like, yep, there it is. The Sports Q thing kind of surprised me, because, and I'm very far away from like my NDA being applicable, so I can talk about it now. I worked for the MMA branch over at Sportskeeda for a year, and I had to drag some people punching and kicking and screaming into being ethical with their work. Dead serious. Now, granted, as an editor for a publication, that's kind of the job, is to check your writers' egos. And when I see hit pieces like that, it tells me one of two things. Either A, the editor is lazy, or B, they are ideologically compromised. Which, man, the second one is a terrible, terrible thing for a publication to be. So, I'm just like, Sportskeeda needs to get rid of them. Honestly, just get rid of the problem children. I get a feeling the rest of the chat doesn't want me to talk about this because they're like, talk about Gundam stuff. So, do you think Seema's still alive in GQuuuuuux? Maybe. It kind of seems like the characters they've been touching on so far have been characters that are in the main, what I would consider like the main Universal Century stories. The original Gundam, Zeta, So yeah. Prefer the MS-7B3 goof over the normal. Is the MS-73B the one with two functional hands? Because if so, yes, I do prefer that one. Much more versatile. One of my personal mobile suit colors? They are royal blue, gold, and white. Which, funnily enough, is like my high school alma mater's colors. Which I hated in my high school, but I really like those colors. So, it is what it is. What would your partner mobile suit be if I could pick? Like somebody from the Universal Century having my back, like what would I want them to pilot? Well, I have a tendency towards bigger, more powerful mobile suits, so I would want them in something fast. So I would probably say like the Riesel that I had back there. Because like if I was piloting my own like a suit in the Universal Century, I would want to pilot something with firepower, like the Sinaju Stein, like the Double Zeta, something like that. Those would fit me a lot better, I think, than something like stupid fast. So yeah. But yeah, one thing I will say, for those of you that were perfectly fine with me making a video where I kind of addressed a culture war thing, I'm sorry to disappoint. I won't be doing that again probably for a long while. And for those of you who don't like seeing me do videos like that, don't worry, I'm not going to be doing any more for a good while. God. Because I'm not super like I'm always up to date with things that are going on in the world, but I'm not a big fan of like spending all my time talking about it because it can be really depressing. Not to mention, if you spend all your time talking about politics, it will drive you insane. It will absolutely drive you insane because you start making connections that don't exist. Andor will absolutely be the thing that convinces you that there's at least something worth salvaging in Disney Star Wars. And we'll have to see. It's not my it's not really my like Disney Star Wars has just not been my forte. Like the directions they've been going have not really been my thing. Um, though I did like Rogue One, so maybe my mind will change. Lately, admittedly, I have been on a on like a kaiju kick. Yeah. Like I've been watching Godzilla stuff because I'm doing the review of Godzilla Singular Point, right? That's the next big review. Because this week we've got a couple special videos. We've got, oddly enough, we have a video that I edited. Um, and when I got that out of the way, we also did one called Every Anime Video Essay Ever. And those are coming out this week. They're shorter videos. They're not long. They're not long ones. But yeah. And then the week after that, hopefully we will have the Godzilla stuff. Have I made any progress in Clair Obscure? I am going to finish playing that game as a reward to myself once I finish my novella. That is what I'm going to do. Because this week is this week Doom the Dark Ages comes out. Like I didn't get the deluxe edition, so like I can't play it right now like half the other fucking side of the internet who had a bunch more money than I did. But I absolutely plan on playing it the instant that it comes out. Like for normal people. Got a Gundam question for you that involves US and Wing universes. Feel free to throw it at me. Culture War is a never-ending back-and-forth spiral. Both sides are intellectually bankrupt at this point. Just want to talk about it and critique things I enjoy. Volta, I am in the exact same spot. Because, like, the problem that I have, personally, is that there's no room for nuance. I'll expand on that in a second. Do I like Macross? I have not watched Macross in a very long time, Alex. I do plan on watching it. Again, the one thing I just remember is Min Min is a cunt. Am I getting Doom on Games Pass? Yes, because it's cheaper that way. But anyway, yeah, the problem that I have a lot of times is like people these days refuse to process nuance. Like they just refuse to do it. Like that was part of my problem with the Kirsch thing. Is like her take was very balanced and a little bit more nuanced. Like her whole thing about like keeping up the Shiloh fundraiser was just, well, if you're gonna keep up the fundraiser about the dude who stabbed another dude allegedly, you might as well keep the other one up too if the standards are that low. You know, it's either do both or none. Like don't like that's the only way you can really be ideologically consistent. You know, without being a fucking hypocrite, you know, and I agree with that sentiment. I really do. And it's not defensive either of them. You know, I just think that if you're going to be anything, try to be consistent, if nothing else. Both of them are bad. Different levels of bad, but bad nonetheless. So, also, I tell you, you make the most in-depth history of Gundam series, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much. Hey, Kaze, it's my pleasure, dude. And I look forward to doing more. This week, I don't know if I'm going to get a whole lot done. What I'm going to try to do is reorient my sleeping schedule to where I'm sleeping through the hottest part of the day. Because it's going to be getting up to like 90 degrees this week. But so I'm sleeping through the hottest part of the day so that, you know, it's nice and cool and comfortable. Because when it's nice and cool and comfortable wherever I'm at, it's really easy for me to write. So, if we moved the Wing MS into the UC timeline, including the grunts, how long would they be OP? How would new types hold up against Zero System and mobile dolls? The problem that you would run into comparing Universal Century mobile suits to stuff in whatchamacallit, in Wing, is that a lot of the stuff in Wing, like those were kind of created around the time that Victory Gundam had just happened, so Gundams were smaller and more faster and more maneuverable. So you're kind of looking at like a pretty big jump in technology. I mean, just the simple fact that the new Gundam has like its top speed is just below 2 Gs, but the tall geese can go from 9 to 10 Gs realistically is it's fucking nuts. That's a big jump in tech, you know. So yeah, they would be OP from the jump. Are there any characters similar to newtypes and Macross? Well, Alex, if I can't remember much about Macross, like I couldn't tell you anything about newtypes, man. I thought that like the way I answered it would have made it obvious, but yeah, I got no fucking clue. Maybe I just didn't word it properly. Don't forget Superman trailer comes out tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not super hyped about it. Nothing against it. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good movie. I'm just not like... I'm not a huge Superman fan. So... So the first battle of F91 then? Yeah, where it's like a complete wash. I mean, there's not a single mobile suit in the Universal Century until the Record Breaker that would probably be able to keep up with the tall geese. You know? Like, that's a scary thought. Though, when you actually look at, like, what... is there anybody in here who has not seen the effect of high G maneuvers on the body? We're gonna have a look at that real quick. I should have done this when we did the Wing breakdown, because let's see here. All right, so this will show you what like 9 to 10 Gs does on the does to the body. Watch how this guy has to like how he has to breathe and all this other shit.
On top, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. Legs, butt, breathe. 1, 2, breathe. Looking good. Work it up. Breathe. 1, 2, breathe. Release the stick. Release the stick. Keep straining. Good work. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So, we're gonna park the gondola.
All right.
So I just want to so 9 to 10 Gs is what I said was probably like what the tall geese was actually able to move at in the anime. Probably not 15. Which is fucking wild. But yeah, there's a the effect it can have on your body is insane. So you think about it, like a Gundam that can move as fast as a fighter jet, like a mobile suit that can move as fast as a fighter jet, it's fucking crazy. That's incredible speed. No wonder Zex had a heart attack. What is the General Grievous? Well, that's the thing, Chief. Are we talking about General Grievous in regards to how the current canon of General Grievous is, where he's a very showy coward, or the General Grievous in the original Clone Wars that Genndy Tartakovsky did? Because they're two very different characters. Hey, Wancho, I'm doing all right. Just finished up episode 6 like a minute ago. Thoughts on the Psycho Gundam thing? I'm stoked about the next episode. I think the next episode's gonna be pretty good. They've been doing a lot of a lot of teases and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they execute. Wasn't there a soldier who used the Tallgeese before Zex and almost got himself killed? He did get himself killed. That was Otto. It was so fast that it broke his ribs, like shattered his rib cage. And then he piloted again and killed himself to effectively topple the biggest base in the Sank Kingdom at the time. So yeah, he's it was Otto, I think was his name. Yeah. Lieutenant Otto. And and then with Zex it actually gave him a heart attack, which, by the way, high G maneuvers can actually do to you. It can actually almost kill you. Like, there's people that you don't get enough blood oxygen in a high G maneuver that you just fucking pass out. Like, it's wild. I mean, even in Gundam we actually see that. I think Sayla passed out a couple times on a launch. Hope the second show goes into world building whole hog. I disagree, Mitchell. I want more action stuff. I feel like we've done enough world building. Honestly. I personally have the whole gist of what's going on. You know, like I don't really need more. I just want to get to like the actual, like, because there's always going to be like the curiosities about whatever the fuck is going on, but at the same time, like, I just want to see what exactly is going to be you know, like the main conflict. Hero would probably survive the Tallgeese at full power. Well, of course. I mean, from what I understand, Wing Zero is just as fast as the Tallgeese is. Did I read your comment on Action Comics 1? I think you said something about, like, going to, like, a local comic shop to see if they have a reprint of it. I might at some point. I do have a comic shop that's only, like, 5 blocks north of me. Unicorn must have a suit that injects drugs into you for being able to handle the speed. Unicorn's not that fast, though. Like, the only suit that I can think of that had speed like that would be, like, comparable to, like, the Tallgeese or something like that is the Record Breaker. You know? Because the Record Breaker is nuts. The Record Breaker is the fastest mobile suit in all of Gundam. But it's also very obscure. Because it only shows up in Crossbone Steel 7. I'll show you guys real quick. So the F-99 Record Breaker. The F-99 Record Breaker is a prototype MS developed by SNRI. The XM-10 Flint, which was originally supposed to be sold to the Earth Federation, was not adopted because the machine could expose its relationship with the Crossbone Vanguard during the Jupiter Empire's invasion of the Earth. The mobile suit replacing the rejected Flint is the Record Breaker. The main feature of the Record Breaker is the Minovsky drive. Originally the main engine of the spaceship Mother Vanguard, the Minovsky drive has been successfully downsized for installation in a mobile suit. The Minovsky drive was incorporated to 4 X-shaped thrusters that bore a passing resemblance to insect wings. Other than the Minovsky drive, the record breaker did not have any other innovative feature, with 75% of its parts being the same as the Flint Crossbone Gundams. SNRI officials planned to change the record breaker's head into that of a Gundam type when presenting the mobile suit to the Federation. Now, the kicker with this thing... The Minovsky drive on its back is actually the precursor to the Wings of Light for the Victory Gundam. If I remember correctly, this mobile suit flew from the Earth to Jupiter in 7 days. Test pilot of the Unicorn died from the speed? I don't remember that. I might have missed that one. The G unit Gundams are supposed to be even faster than the main wing Gundams because they use experimental boosters. Interesting. But yeah, the F91 record breaker. This is the fastest mobile suit in all of Gundam, bar none. There's not a single one that's faster. Because again, 7 days from Earth to Jupiter. That's to give you an idea of how long that is. Let's go to the internet. That is 554.85 million miles in 7 days. Meaning that this mobile suit, so 554.85 million divided by 7 is 79.26 million miles per day. So what's that per hour? Well, let's do that math. Divided by 24. This mobile suit quite literally travels 3.3 million miles an hour. Which I'm pretty sure that's faster than the speed of light. Yeah, it is. So, actually, wait, no, 299 million miles. So no, it's not. Never mind. But still, the 3 million miles per hour. That's cracked. That's insanity. Did Haman Karn have a thing for judo? Well, yeah, judo is best boy. Who wouldn't? But it wasn't so much that as... It was more like a Darth Vader sort of thing. Like, she wanted to corrupt him. Make him realize that her way was the right way. I don't think it was like a sexual attraction. Now, judo had a thing for Haman. Could you blame him? If evil, why hot? Do I think Zeon would have won the 1 year war earlier if the Zuda was chosen Zeon frontline, assuming the engine problem was fixed? Oh, I think it would have still ended the same way. Please review manga like Crossbone. That's the plan. It's in the cards. I will definitely be reviewing Crossbone at some point. We're not there yet, though. You know, like, one thing, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, like, I kind of need to take a break sometimes from doing Gundam. You know? Like, I can't do all Gundam all the time. It's just not something that I want to do because I don't want to get burned out on it. I understand though that like my channel would probably grow a lot faster than it is if I did, but I would also get burnt out on it. You know, I've been on the internet long enough to know my limits, you know? She did try to smooch him in the show before being so rudely interrupted. Ah, that is true, isn't it? You know what? I'm going to have to, whenever I rewatch that for whenever we do a breakdown, I'll have to make that part of my analysis is like, what was she really trying to do here? So... But there's a bunch of stuff that I still want to review. Like, I want to do Macross. I want to do... obviously, late Universal Century stuff. I want to talk about Victory. I want to talk about Crossbone. You know, I want to talk about F91. Stuff like that. So it's in the cards. I also have to say, I don't know if you guys noticed this. Jesus, tap dancing Christ, this art goes hard. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, much Warhammer 40k art. I got really mad today because I saw another 40k video that had fucking AI-generated Warhammer 40k art. I'm like, I want you to get hit by a bus. Like, fucking really? There's so many talented people that make 40k art. Like, tell me if I'm alone in this, guys, but it's like, there's a lot of really good 40k art. A lot of it. Like, there's a surplus of it. Not just official, but fan art, too. Like, people who love 40k, that are artists, love drawing 40k stuff. They fucking love it. So, like... You're spoiled for choice, and you still rely on AI? You fucking cunt. You know, like, Jesus Christ, fucking stop it. $50 to get, like, a commission. Like, fuck, just it's $50, man. Lazy bastards. Like, one of them was, like, it was AI art of like, a Black Templar and a Sister of Battle. I'm doing the thing real quick. What do you know? I just searched Black Templar Sisters of Battle. Hey, look, fan art. Hey, look, fan art. Hey, look, fan art. Hey, look, fan art. Hey, look. Like, hey, look, fan art. Like, fuck off with your AI bullshit. Ah! I swear to Christ. I hate it. 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 Yeah. Fuck the abominable intelligence. Necrons are the best faction. Well, for Xenos, anyway. They're my favorite Xenos. I'm an Imperium guy, though. Bar none. I fucking love the Imperium. But yeah, like there's like finding 40K art that goes hard is not tough, for example. Look at that fucking art. Just look at it. Thought I was an orc man. Orcs can be fun to blow up. But yeah, Jaime Martinez is the name of the artist who did this. So this is the box art for the Blood Angels box. Then there's the Imperial Fists. This one's really good too. I'm not even an Imperial Fists guy, and this goes hard. You know? This goes really hard. Those Blade Guard veterans look great. Templars. My boys, the Salamanders. Funnily enough, this is the downside. As fucking cool as these aggressors are, because I really like Phobos armor. I really like the Mark 10 armor. I just think it looks cool. These are not really that useful as a Salamanders player, sadly. And then we got White Scars. Yeah, all this art goes fucking hard. But yeah, Salamanders though, these got like, I'm more of a fan of, they're not eliminators. What are they called? Hold on, I'll go on New Recruit and look it up. Let me pull this up. There's so many army lists. Yeah. And that's the wrong one. Where the hell did I put it? There it is. Okay. What are they called? They're an infantry unit. Which Primarch is White Scars? That's Jagatai Khan. Eradicators is what they're called. The Eradicator unit. Eradicators are great. I'll show you what they look like. These are Eradicators. Big boys. They wear excuse me. They wear Mark 10 Gravis armor, which is really heavy, really tough stuff. And use multi-meltas. So they do a lot of damage. On the tabletop, what they do specifically is to read off the weapons thing. is they have an ability called Total Obliteration. So each time a ranged attack made by a model in this unit targets a monster or vehicle model, you can re-roll the hit roll, you can re-roll the wound roll, and you can re-roll the damage roll. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. So let's actually do a roll real quick. So just to give you an idea of what it is. So how many attacks does a multi-melta have? It has 2 attacks, so it's 2d6s, right? So let's say we roll our 2d6s. We need a 3 or higher to hit. 4 and a 5, so I hit on both of them. Now, if either of these missed for whatever reason, I could re-roll that. So, then let's say that, because the weapon has a strength of 9, let's say that our enemy armor is a strength of 4. Well, in that particular case, I would need to roll a 3 or higher to do wound damage on that particular character. So I can re-roll. So, let's do our roll. So I got 2. But, because of the special ability of Total Obliteration, I can re-roll that. So I ended up getting 1 wound that ends up going through, and the other one does not. So they roll their saves. Let's say that it fails. So we roll our damage rolls. So we got 1d6, right? Actually, so for damage rolls on this, we roll a d6 for damage. Well, that fucking sucked. But because of Total Obliteration, I can roll it again! I still got a 1, but, you know, it's just... It's one of those things where... They're really good. Just put it that way. They're really, really good. Whereas an aggressor, which are the ones with, like, the flame gauntlets... They don't have the same abilities. Now, an aggressor... they have the benefit of the flamethrowers that they use. They ignore cover. Have a good one, Imogen. They ignore cover. So if you're behind a wall, it doesn't fucking matter. And they're what's called a torrent weapon. Torrent weapons on the tabletop of 40k mean that if you're within range of the weapon, you don't roll to hit. It automatically hits. You're just rolling for whether or not it hurts someone. So that's the benefit of the Flamestorm gauntlets that they have. Plus, the Flamestorms have what's called twin linked, so you can re-roll the wound roll assuming you hit. But they don't have armor piercing, which means that they can save from the damage a lot easier. The difference, though, with the aggressors is that they're good in melee. They have power fists. So, it just depends on how you're running your army. But then again, the gameplay style for them, pushes melee. So, I might try them again at some point, but as of right now, I don't use them in my army list. With salamanders, I like to kind of stick at the mid-range. Do a lot of damage that way. Hello, Warpath. But yeah, salamanders are dope. They are really great. Apparently, the Horus Heresy, that tabletop, is getting new salamander units. Specifically, Saturnite units, which those were specifically Terminators developed by Vulcan, and Dreadnought, a Dreadnought pattern that was developed by Vulcan, and it's really good. Because I mean, of all the Primarchs that are good at smithing, Vulcan was the best. And that's coming from the mouth of Perturabo, who knows engineering better than anyone of the Primarchs. He admitted that Vulcan was the best. Because his attention to detail is absurd. He has an understanding of machinery and weaponry that no one else has. And a lot of that's because he was a smith for his entire life before he met the Emperor. So he understands how to build things. Vulcan's the kind of guy that, like, Tony Stark would want to pick the brain of. Not to mention, the dude is fucking tough. Like, in Vulcan Lord of Drakes, the book I just finished, Vulcan, I shit you not, in 40K, killed a war boss as big as Gaz. And then killed another one. Like, he killed 2 war bosses in a day. Like it was clockwork. Like, Vulcan's the man. He's really fucking good. Was the trailer for Horus Heresy advertising a tabletop? Yes. That's what it was for. The one where you have Horus going, "Where the seas will burn." Blah, 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 blah. That's for the tabletop. Do you think Vulcan's going to be the next Primarch Loyalist to return? It's apparently going to be Dorn is going to be the next one. I'm thinking that what they're going to be doing is they're going to rotate off. Because the last one we got was the Lion. And then we got Fulgrim. I think that what they're going to start to do is rotate off, like, Loyalist, Traitor, Loyalist, Traitor, Loyalist, Traitor. Because for, I think what they're going to do is they're going to do Dorn, then they're going to do Perturabo. And we're going to see more Iron Warrior stuff come out. Then they're going to do Vulcan. And then they're going to do Lorgar, I think. And then after Lorgar, I expect them then to do Corvus. And then, I don't know who would be left. I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Oh, at that point you run out of living Chaos Primarchs, though. Because Mortarion has been around for a while, Magnus has been around for a while, etc., etc. I think Omegon returning would probably be another Chaos one that they might do. But yeah, at that point I think we'll have Leman Russ return, we'll have Jagatai return. They're definitely going to have Jagatai returning at some point because a bunch of Chaos forces with Arcs of Omen just went into the Webway. They've never been able to do that before. So that could be disastrous. Dorn, why do I say that? Because in the most recent Fulgrim book, there was a passage of the where the Emperor's champion of the Black Templars had a vision of the Templars fighting and other sons of Dorn fighting alongside him. So he is apparently still alive. I don't know how. Now, I don't remember how the Emperor's Champion's visions work. Okay. So this is from the wiki. It is written in the holy text of the Black Templars that when a battle brother is gifted with divine vision, guiding him to take up the mantle of the Emperor's Champion, it is the memories of Sigismund he sees. It is a shifting vista of warring angels and vengeful gods, just as ancient Space Marine witnessed the war during the War for Terra and the blasphemy of the Horus Heresy. So, there is the distinct possibility that also, though, he could be seeing the past. We don't know. But the thing is that he said he saw other Black Templars. Which is weird because the Black Templars didn't exist in the Heresy. So instead, there was a squad in the the Imperial Fist called the Templar Squad, and Sigismund was the leader of it. Spoiler: the mentioned champion died. Dorn never showed up during the battle. Judd Reed is not a good author. Fair enough. Fair enough then. So that ended up being bullshit, I guess. I haven't read the book myself, though, admittedly. I'll check it out on I'll check it out on audiobook when it comes out, because I'm curious about what Fulgrim's up to. What is the General Grievous Clone Wars TV show version of Gundam? Like the villain that nobody could stop? I don't know if there is one, to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a good parallel. I just want to say right now, it is so humid in my in my apartment that my dehumidifier is working overtime. Like it's like a fifth of the way full in its tank right now, and it was like close to empty yesterday. So, but yeah, I'd have to read the Fulgrim book for myself to kind of come to my own conclusions. But I'm of the opinion that that Dorn might be the next one. I would hope, but then again, he could also be dead. You know, we don't really know. But other than that. I want Vulcan to be... If we're not doing Dorn, I want Vulcan. Absolutely, positively Vulcan. Vulcan is the man. Like, quite literally, Vulcan is, like, the most slept on Primarch of all of them. And it sucks. No, the coward version? Oh, Chronicle Asher. Chronicle Asher would definitely be the parallel to that. Oh, the Templars were a whole company during the heresy. My bad. You'll have to... I'm glad you're here to correct me on this, Damon. I admittedly do not know much about the Imperial Fists during the heresy. I am not the biggest fan of them. Like, they're decent on the tabletop, but they're not like I like their successor chapters more than I like the actual chapter. I love the Crimson Fists, I love the Black Templars, you know. Thought Ferrus Manus or Jagatai Khan, the one that was most slept on? Nah. A lot of people like Jagatai. Jagatai's a beast. And he's a roast god. Jagatai, like, he fucked up Mortarion. You know, like, he's very good at what he does. Not to mention he's basically the Flash. But, I wouldn't say, like, Ferrus Manus, I think he gets pretty good credit for being an efficient leader. But I think people just don't like him. Honestly, they think he's kind of boring. I think a lot of that is because of how do I put it? He didn't really get a whole lot in comparison to a lot of the other ones. But no, Vulcan gets slept on because like everybody thinks that the Lion is the most badass Primarch in 40K, or Lehman Russ is. I would argue Vulcan's better than both of them. Now, one thing I will say, Vulcan A is a perpetual, and B is huge. Like, he's fucking monstrously huge. So he's got advantages there. Who is the Omnissiah exactly? I know the Cult Mechanicus worships him, but that's it. The Omnis... That goes into the Great Lie of Mars, which is a big spoiler. I would just say, read the book Mechanicum. and you will be horrified by the end of it. Don't nobody in the chat spoil it. It's dark. And what I will say is this. Everything that the Mechanicus was arranged by the Emperor long, long ago. To the point where it makes him a massive hypocrite in regards to the creation of religions. I'll just put it that way. But anyway, Vulcan... The thing about Vulcan is... all he had was his hammer, and he beat Corvus to a... not Corvus, sorry. Why am I forgetting his name? The fucking Primarch of the Night Lords. Fucking edgy asshole. What was his fucking name? I hate that I'm having nominal aphasia right now. Conrad Kurz. Like, he beat the ever-loving piss out of Conrad Kurz. Because, like, the Emperor helps Vulcan through a maze that was developed by Perturabo. Helps him through it. And when he gets to his hammer, there's a shield around it. So Kurz starts talking shit, right? You know what Vulcan does? Grabs the motherfucker by the back of his head and just starts beating his face into the shield to get his hammer. And then just drops him. Picks up the hammer. And Kurz is like, yeah, you know the teleport Homer in your fucking hammer? Well, this place is teleport shielded. You're not getting out of here. You know, your salvation, all that, doesn't fucking exist. You're mine. And Vulcan in his, incredible patience. Vulcan very rarely gets pissed off. Or gets, super emotional. He's a very calm guy. He just goes, well, brother, you are correct. The teleporter in this does not work. But there's something you forgot. And Kurz goes, what's that? Vulcan picks up the hammer and holds it in both hands and goes, it's also a hammer, brother. And just smashes the fuck out of him with it. And beats the brakes off him again. Keep in mind, Vulcan is not in his armor and Kurz is. And this whole fucking time that he is laying a beat down to Conrad Kurz, he is just shit-talking him with absolute fucking facts. Basically saying, you're shit, your legion is shit, none of you are good warriors, you're all a bunch of cowards, we all fucking hate you, we all thought you were a whole lot of nothing, and guess what, bitch, we were right. You know, all the insults that are true of Conrad Kurz, Vulcan's just tossing at him, right? And then he finally gets out of there. And it's like, god damn. Like, it's one of the most brutal beatdowns of a Primarch. Vulcan could have killed him if he wanted to. But he chose not to. Which really was not a wise decision. Because that decision is something that, sadly, Gilliman, the Lion, and Sanguinius would have to deal with. But yeah. After that, Vulcan would head to Earth after he healed up on Macragge. Because he was at the Siege of Terra. He was with the Emperor during the whole time. Now, keep in mind, he was with the Emperor for a good chunk of it while the Emperor is on the throne. And it's described as a psychic sandblasting to be in that room, and Vulcan was fine. Just whatever. That's how tough he is. And then Magnus showed up, and Vulcan just beats the hell out of him. And keep in mind, Magnus is still very powerful. Even, he beats him as bad as, he beats the piss out of Magnus just as badly, or close to it, as Lehman did. And so Magnus runs away. Then later on, during the siege, Magnus comes back. This time, now he's a demon Primarch, still loses to Vulcan. Vulcan still beats the piss out of him. Oh yeah, he did go back to Nocturne, that is right. But yeah, so Vulcan beat the shit out of Magnus. Magnus runs away, becomes a demon, comes back, still gets the brakes beaten out of him. Vulcan is a monster. Him and Sanguinius, I would say, were honestly the most fearsome Primarchs. Perturabo was pretty scary too. Because Perturabo, and hey Mouse, what's going on, buddy? Perturabo was able to wrangle Angron. Like, that's impressive. If they keep Dorn dead, I want the new rivalry for Perturabo to be Vulcan instead. I think that'd be a great matching of wits. Because in a lot of ways, like they talk about how like Dorn and Perturabo are like opposites of one another. I'm of the opinion that Vulcan is more of an opposite to Perturabo than Dorn is. Because Vulcan has the one thing that Perturabo doesn't, and it's humanity. Like, Perturabo threw his away, Vulcan never got rid of his. And the funny, and the thing about it is, the two have a mutual respect for each other. As engineers, and as scientists. You know, like, they have a lot of respect for each other. To the point where, after Istvan, like, Fulgrim got his fucking pretty face smashed in by Perturabo for insulting Vulcan. You know, like, it's like, those two I think would be a great rivalry, honestly. I'd like to see that. Not to mention, it's like, in my opinion, the Salamanders are just as good at defense as the fucking Imperial Fists are. They just go about it differently. Like the Lion, personally, Son of the Forest was really good. I've heard Son of the Forest is awesome. I've read a lot of excerpts from it. The Lion, as an older man, he's basically Charles Dance now, which is like, or he feels like he's being played by him. And he looks like him, too. But yeah, the Lion nowadays is really cool. I really am looking forward to seeing some of them meet back up with one another. I don't think some people think that like the confrontation between Guilliman and the Lion is going to be violent. I don't think so. I think whenever Leman Russ comes back, the Lion might stab him once just for old time's sake. But the Lion in the book, from what I understand, pretty much said he really misses his brothers. Like, I think the line about Lehman was that he regretted the idea that he might no longer get to see his brother's stupid face. And it was actually kind of like a little heartwarming bit of a dig there. But I think that whenever the Lion gets to see his brothers again, he's going to be very different than what he was before. I think as he's gotten older, he's become more sentimental, and he's learned from his mistakes. I really like Lionel Johnson as he is now. Because Jesus Christ, during the heresy, he was an asshole. Though, I will say, because the Lion likes impaling people, when he did it to Kurz, when they finally captured him, when Kurz was talking all that shit, he just runs him through and just says, loyalty is its own reward. That is one of the best yet coldest lines I've ever heard out of any of the Primarchs. Like, that's a really good one. But it sums up the Lion in general. If you're loyal to him, he will be loyal to you. Period, point blank. He doesn't have to get along with you. He does not have to like you. But if you're loyal to him, he will return it. He has a sense of honor in that regard. I think that's what's really cool about him. And of course, he's very loyal to his father. So. Sienna, you're not wrong. You are not wrong at all. Vulcan comes back to the tabletop. We all know what to do. Stomp, stomp, baby. Stomp, fucking stomp. I will definitely be making like, changing up my list to have Vulcan on it. Because I'll show you guys my army list. Oh, fuck. That was my neck. Oh, that was a good pop, though. Salamanders. So, here's who I run. My warlord is always Vulcan Histan. He's pretty great. Largely because he has the Gauntlet of the Forge, which is one of Vulcan's weapons. It's a D6 plus 3 flamethrower. He has the Spear of Vulcan, which gets 6 attacks hitting on 2s with a strength of 6 and an AP minus 2. It's a pretty good melee weapon. But he's great. For those who don't know, Vulcan Histan is the Forge Father of the Salamanders. What happened to Vulcan? Like, is he MIA? We don't know. He disappeared during the War of the Beast, and he has not returned yet. But the general thought is that when all of the artifacts of Vulcan are found, then Vulcan will return to them. So yeah, he's MIA. Because the thing about Vulcan is that he is a perpetual. He's functionally immortal. He's more immortal than the Emperor himself, which says something. He's also the Emperor's favorite son, believe it or not. But anyway, but I also run an Apothecary, a Captain in Gravis armor, that has the Mastercrafted bolt rifle, Captain in Terminator armor, a Lieutenant, and the Lieutenant I run with the Apothecary in the same unit, and a Tech Marine. Really like Tech Marines. Tech Marines are pretty great. 5 heavy intercessors, 5 standard intercessors, 3 Blade Guard vets. I keep those with Vulcan Histan. 2 sets of Eradicators, because these guys are great. I already talked to them earlier. 5 Infernus Marines, 2 squads of 5. And then 2 squads of Terminators that use Power Fists and Heavy Flamers. Though this is supposed to be a power weapon, not a Power Fist. And then for my vehicles, I use a Firestrike servo turret. I tend to plant this on the home objective because these things are great. Because they have... and you can actually like have a squad of 2 if you want, but it costs more points. But they get Las Talons, which has a 36-inch range, gets 2 attacks hitting on 2s, and has an armor piercing of -3. Plus it's twin linked, so you get to reroll the wound roll. So I use that and then 2 repulsor executioners. Because one thing about salamanders in the lore, they really like their tanks. They really like their tanks. Like they roll heavy with armor because again they're artisans. Like all their shit is custom. So. Nope, the Emperor is the most powerful. The Perpetual's thing is the Emperor chose not to die, sit on the Golden Throne to shield Terra, Astronomicon, and sacrifice his rebirth. I think what I meant was like Vulcan, I think, is... Well, yeah, that's a good point. If the Emperor came off the Golden Throne, he might regenerate. But yeah, Vulcan, like, he's come back from things that are supposed to kill Perpetuals. And he just went right through it. He got disintegrated at one point and just popped back. Like, when he beat Magnus the second time, he was being disintegrated while he beat his ass. sitting on the throne is torture, eternal agony, but people are still shit talking him. Yeah, it didn't surprise me like when Gilliman was like when Gilliman saw his father that like the Emperor sounded insane when they talked, like he couldn't really gather himself because he was like spread too thin. But at the same time, out in the warp, during Plague War, when we heard from the Emperor, he was more focused, I guess you could say. I think a big part of it is that it might be that more of his consciousness is in the warp itself at this point than near his body. So, but yeah, the Emperor is very fond of Vulcan, though. Very fond of him. A lot of it being his humanity. Because if there is one difference between Vulcan and his father, it's that Vulcan doesn't really compromise his belief. He's not... He's the kind of guy, like, his thought is, you know, with the trolley problem, he basically says, oh, so I need to either flip this switch or this switch. I'm just going to knock over the trolley. What are you thinking, man? Why would I put myself in this situation? Why would I do something like that when I can just stop the trolley from hitting them? Are you crazy, man? Wouldn't Terra be fucked if Big E got off the throne? The Imperium in general would, like, anybody traveling through the warp would be fucked. Because they wouldn't have his protection. They would just be stuck there. Great video on Marathon. Did it just go up? Did it go up today? I don't remember. I didn't remember what I had it scheduled for. I'm glad you liked it. It did go up. Okay, I couldn't remember. But yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Came in late, came for Gundam, ended up at 40k. Yeah, we're at that point where we're just kind of shooting the shit. Aside from the Tau, I'd have a Sisters, Salamanders, or Wolves army. What can I say? I'm a massive weeb. Give your Jamaican accent a 5 out of 10. Yeah, I was trying to do Vulcan, like, they actually make Vulcan kind of Jamaican sounding in the audiobooks. I don't know if that happened first or if TTS happened first. But I kind of dig it, you know, because they kind of have that vibe. But yeah, the Vulcan he's just one of, like, he just does not compromise his beliefs at all. Now, he's not the only humanitarian among the Primarchs. Sanguinius was, too, you know. Corvus as well, and Lehman as well. Like, those four were like the biggest humanitarians of the group. Though, funnily enough, there was a fifth one that was also very humanitarian during the Great Crusade, which is kind of adds to his tragedy, and it was Magnus. Magnus and the Thousand Sons were very humanitarian during the Great Crusade, very much so. So that's kind of what makes it so tragic, you know? Nocturnian Kush must be the shit. Dude, you wouldn't have problems finding a place to light it. Oh, man. But yeah. Yeah, Magnus the Screw-Up, the one and the same. He was one of the kindest of the Primarchs. Like, more than Gilliman, more than a lot of the Loyalists. Like, that's what makes it so sad. You know, it's just like, he was tried to be such a benevolent figure, but he had a flaw, and that flaw was his arrogance and his naivete. Oh, two flaws. His arrogance and his naivete, you know? And even, because like, Lorgar was a prick, you know? But a lot of that you can chalk up to bad parenting. You know, but like those 5 were very humanitarian. Also, fuck Erebus. Just fuck that guy, man. Oh, man. We have been going for 2 hours. So, I think that we are going to call it there. So, we will be back. Everybody in here that is in here, go watch the marathon video. Leave a comment, so on and so forth. I want to hear people's opinions of it. I'm really proud of that video. I thought it came out really good. But we will see what people say. So, on that note, guys, I appreciate all you coming in, hanging out with me today. I will see you all next week. Have yourselves a good one. That's in order.